On the back straightaway, into turn number 3, thick thin, still 3 wide, Brandon Feeney, high, wide, and handsome. He's going to go to the outside and get past Camillo.
I don't mean to be two birds and bees with you folks, but this is how cautions are born.
Welcome to episode number 46 of the Feeney Call. Hope you guys had enjoyed the Peterborough Speedway double special with Charlie Toner one week, and then we had Stronco and JP and Peyton from Peterborough Speedway. We also got to have a really busy week this week as we went up to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park Saturday morning. We were doing some NASCAR practice. I was working on the 88 Simon Charbonneau car. Unfortunately, due to a freak accident, it did fall on me. For those people that know what happened, I've told most people, honestly, it was just like I said, it was a freak accident. 4 jack stands on the car and it got knocked off them by accident. And sore, but okay. We talked about with Glenn, who was more sore coming into this episode. So you can see, like, I got pillows and everything behind my back. Could have been worse. It was the best of a bad case scenario. Yeah, after all that was done, we finished practice today. I headed up to Peterborough for the opening night, the free grandstand admission. Got some pictures. I think I did okay taking pictures. Still learning. I still gotta get more lenses, but it's money I gotta spend, and it's just I try to take what money I take in, I try to use to improve my equipment and stuff like that. And anyone will tell you in this business, there's no making money. They're just trying to break even. But yeah. Anyways, after that, we went back. We raced on Sunday. We had a okay day. It was pretty uneventful. Unfortunately, we got turns, I think, halfway through the race, and we finished, I think, 23rd out of 31 cars. But the car came home most of its pieces. I was gonna go up to Sunset afterwards, and then yesterday I was gonna go down to Humberstone or Maryville, I think was running. It was all honesty, I was just too sore to do that much driving and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a bunch of beefy media drivers in sorry, in competition this weekend. So we had Gary Hanna get 5th. We had Corey Horn get 4th in his new car. Halby get Corey Halbert. I have him listed as Halby because that's what he is on Facebook. Got 8th in his feature down at Maryville, first time running that track. Unfortunately, Cody Cook got I don't want to say got wrecked, but he wrecked due to a broken suspension part on his car in the first feature. And I think it was Cole Burrows got 14th after having a super loose car. But yeah, we got a bunch of media drivers going into race this week. I think we have Robbie Miltimore driving the first time, Savannah Strawn driving the first time. I believe, actually, I think almost every driver is in competition this week. I'm not 100% sure about Robert Turner. As I gotta really actually pay attention to his schedule because he's down at Shannonville next, I believe. I believe that's June 1st, though. I'll message him to find out. But anyway, let me long-winding rants and stuff like that. I hope to see you guys at the racetrack. Go and support your local tracks. Go to support your local drivers. If you go to a track and say it's Peterborough Speedway, it's free admission. Support with their concessions if they're giving you the discount and stuff like that. If you go to a track, maybe buy a T-shirt off one of your favorite drivers and stuff like that. It actually goes a long way to helping these smaller teams out. Like, you don't understand, like, selling T-shirts is and merchandise has kept me on the track for an extra 2, 3 years. Um, and I gotta thank everyone that's supported me through all these ventures and stuff like that, including the podcast and stuff like that. So, yeah, thank you to the fans, and also at the same time, let's keep the sport on a growing pace. It was great to see a huge crowd at Peterborough Speedway this week, and I hear it was pretty big everywhere else. CTMP was packed, so let's during the regular season, let's keep packing tracks, and who knows, maybe we'll have to keep growing and growing and growing, and maybe racing will be as big as it used to be, and that's what we can hope. The bigger racing gets, the easier it is to get sponsors if there's more people in the stands. Because then there, instead of on a normal week, say 1, 2,000 people at the track, there's 5, 6, 7,000. Then you're, you know, tripling your base of what you can say people are at the stands for. So then you have a better chance of ROI and etc. But anyway, enough of that, and we'll start talking to Glenn. And I hope you enjoy our little conversation. Welcoming to this week's episode of the podcast, we have Mr. 360 Glenn Morris, as he was known in his early days. We've got to race together for a few years there. We got together a few times, but I think we always smiled most of the part of the time running because we were always crossing over, passing each other. We had a good time most times.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun running at the back, but
We
was
had
good.
our crew.
Yeah,
There was
had our 3 or 4 guys, and
yeah, there was the front 5 that was fast, and there was us back 5 that were fast, complete the top 10. That any given night we'd be 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and or the other way around.
yeah, sure, yeah. No, it was good. Learning experience being back there, right? So
Well, especially because like the Legend Series has a huge host of great talent. So you have people that have kind of come up from karting, like your Keaton Pipes and stuff like that, getting experience going upwards. But you
Yeah.
also have your guys like Smoke and Joe Adams and like Jade Franklin coming down from late models to kind of have a, I want to say easier year because it's still kind of
yeah,
maintenance. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of maintenance, everything involved and stuff like that. But it's a lot less of a car. Like you can fit it in the trailer and keep it there if you're like renovating a shop or don't have one.
yeah. I had a bit of a talk with them on the weekend, like how they like the Legends and stuff compared to late models and that. And it's the tire deal, right? To run up front with the late models and that, you gotta put rubber on it. Where Legends, you can do what, 2 sets a year? So it's $1,600 worth of tires for the year. And he's a front runner consistently. That whole team is every week, right?
Yeah. And another thing is like if you're a guy that's like us, say a mid packer, you can put your set on for the year as long as you don't get a puncture. You can run them all year and they're about the same.
100%. I have the last 2 years, right? I last year I think I bought a set just before colors. So yeah, it was good. And the new sets, you gotta break them in. They take a week or two to find their own, right?
Yeah.
So
So Glenn, you kind of got into racing in the legend cars. Did you do any racing or stuff before that?
well, how it started was Brad Stevenson. He was a friend of my niece's. He was racing at Mossport, so I went and helped him. And then once you start helping people, you get the bug, right?
Yeah.
Then they had an old Malibu chassis in their yard, which I purchased without telling the wife, and they brought it to my house. And then that year, I spent, I don't know, that summer probably 6, 7 grand that I didn't have. So that was my racing career, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Got lapped the second lap in the Thunder cars. That was a fast track, you know.
Yeah. Mossport was, if you could get around it, it was super fast.
Yeah,
But if you couldn't figure out what a lot of people call turn 5 at Mossport,
yeah,
it hurt a lot.
yeah. I didn't have the motor. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just wanting to go and turn laps and have some fun. And so I got out of it after that year, and then I kind of stepped away. And then bought my custom Harley, or built a custom Harley and all that. And then I started helping Chad at the track again, who's married to my niece Terry. So, and then you go there again, you get the bug, right? None of my family would come on the Harley with me, but they all wanted to come to the races. So I said, all right, I'll sell the Harley and we'll get a race car. So I liked the Legends and, said, "Oh, that looks easy. I can do that." Those back guys are slow. So I'll hop into them. And the back guys kicked my ass the first couple of weeks. It was like, right. So it was, yeah, I like the Legends. They're fun to drive, don't take up a lot of room. And you don't have to put tires on them every third week, second week. So
Also, I find that they're super easy to work on, like because like everything's I don't want to say it's small, but everything's out in the open. Like if you need to change anything, there's nothing really in your way. Like where if you need to work on a late model to say pull some things, you got to like pull the engine out just to get it away from the bars and the roll caging and stuff like that.
yeah, you just like if you want to do anything major, you just tear the fenders off it, right?
Yeah.
And everything's pull the hood, everything's exposed.
Yeah. Or pull the whole body off, and it's still like only an hour to pull the whole thing apart.
Yeah, like after this weekend, the incident I had, I thought I might have to pull the body, but it turned out I didn't. But it's like I'm gonna guess it's like 12 rivets holding the main part of the body on, which is nothing, right?
Yeah. That's not
And
even a
it's
huge
light.
expense in the budget to replace.
No, like I think I'm not sure the price of the bodies. They probably get expensive because they have a light one out there too, right? But no, it's a good class, man, and they are getting easier to work on. Like once you start learning, right?
Yeah, especially because like I find so we started Legends. Well, you started I think a year before me or 2 years before me. I joined I think it was 2019 or 2020 when we had COVID.
Yeah.
Um,
19
and
was my first year.
yeah, so maybe you were 19 and I was 20.
Yeah.
But it was kind of one of those things that like as they switched from the 1250 to the F709, you kind of had to reteach yourself the liquid cooled stuff. Where I was old and I didn't want to change to it because it was cheaper to run the 1250.
Yeah, you know what? The initial outlay for the FZ is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but you're not chasing leaks all the time. They're not grenades. Um, Seat time at practice is, you pay for practice. You don't want to have to come in, cool your motor down for 25 minutes with fans, and then go back out. With the liquid cooled, you go in, make your adjustments, get back in line, go back out again. Like your seat time in an FZ is double or triple what it would be in a 1250.
Do you feel like with the FZ09 becoming more and more the standard motor that like say if we had like the two-speed nationals, which is having the big event for the legend cars, I believe it's Sauble Speedway this year,
Yep.
that it could mean that instead of having 20 to 30 lap races, they can start like pushing laps up because of the reliability of them, or
Well, yeah, because Andrew was even saying the other day the fastest sedan in Ontario. Um, he his 1250 starts laying down after I'm going to say like 5 or 6 laps, right? They start to heat up. That back cylinder can't take the heat, so they got a lot more torque, but they start to tighten up after so many laps, right? Where at the FZ, it just keeps going.
yeah, I won't discuss my secret of how I kept mine staying open the entire 20 lap race, but there's
Yeah,
tricks to it.
yeah.
Um,
But I think there's only like 3 around. There's not too many. We had 2 the other night, I think, the 8 and Andrew's car. I
yeah,
think
and
every other car was an FZ.
if my old car comes out, it's still a 1250, but I hadn't
Yeah.
seen him yet this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're driving the Legend series and stuff like that. You've been progressively getting better. You're
Yeah.
now kind of towards the back of the front runners consistently.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself like cracking into like the win soon? Do you see yourself like moving up, like, or is it just
Um,
trying to be consistent?
well, the way we did it last year, the way we did the heats last year, I could have won this year. Like we had the slower guys in one heat, and then you had the faster guys in one heat, right? It kind of gave the slower guys to able to get a win. But the way we do it this year, I don't know if I'll get a win. Someone's going to have to screw up, which I don't want to happen because then it gets expensive for me to win. If I can get top 2, top 3 every heat, I'm okay with that. It's not a problem. And I'm working with 510 Paul McComb. Paul McComb, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. From 510 in the States, he's really helping me. You know, we're doing phone setup and stuff. I text him from the track and he tells me what adjustments to make. The car's night and day, right? So that really helps. That's huge.
So, um, with like moving that, and obviously you got some repairs to do. Are you racing this weekend coming up, or is it the weekend after?
We're the next two at Peterborough, and then
Next
we're
year.
off for a week. Yeah.
So when you go back to tracks like you said, Peterborough or back to back, do you find it's helpful for your program that you can kind of stick to the same track and kind of like work on things for temperature and stuff like that and kind of get comfortable, or do you
Oh
like
yeah,
changing
sure.
every week?
Yeah, sure. It's no, I don't like changing every week. You know, with my job, I get home like 7:30 most nights, and I'm up at 4 in the morning. So to be honest with you, I don't have the energy at 58 years old to go out and spend till 11, 12 o'clock at night working on the car after working all day. So if I can go back to back at the track, that really makes that week good. Still do the nut and bolt, obviously, right? But if I'm not changing springs and I'm not, it really helps. Yeah.
Yeah, do your spring change, your gear change, plus
Yeah.
if like you're doing your oil change and stuff that week, not it adds up really quick. It can go from a 10, 20 hour maintenance week to 30, 40, and it's a full-time job again.
Yeah. Like if you don't race or you don't keep up on your car, people have no idea how much time it takes. And I'm not a front runner. So the front running guys like Parker Traves, apparently he lived in the garage the last couple of years with his car, right? So if you're not willing to put the time in during the week, you can't expect to run up front, you know.
It's the biggest thing I've seen in racing. Time invested in is results like carried out. Like
Yeah,
obviously you still see like there's still crap that happens that say someone gets like even with Cole McFadden this week, him and I think it was Latimer just clip bumpers at the worst possible time.
yeah.
But
Especially in these cars, right? Like they're so twitchy when you're by yourself. Especially the front guys, like they're right on the edge every lap. And if they just even touch each other, generally, unless they hit each other coming straight out, yeah, they're going around, right?
well, that and if somebody checks up like because they got loose and they need a couple seconds, like or even a second just to gather their thoughts and
Yeah,
save the car,
yeah,
you're literally on top of them within that time because how quick these things close up on each other.
they are. Yeah, there's a big difference between the front guys and the back guys. Like it's almost half a second, if not more, right? And that's huge. The closing rate is huge. So if something happens, like you said, you're right on top of them, right?
Yeah, and you say half second's huge, but like I feel like that still puts you at the point where like you start your races. That's a really tight time space for a group. Like, 'cause if
Yeah,
you look at like any other class, you could be looking at over a second between the front guy and the back guy.
yeah,
Or if you have most of the field within half a second, that means, especially at a place like Peterborough, if that guy's running a clean line in the bottom,
yeah,
unless you get the run off your life so you can get underneath them, or you're brave enough to take it to the top side,
yeah,
then it creates pack racing, and it's really interesting to watch, but it can also
yeah,
be really bad really fast.
yeah, yeah. But that's what I like about our cars. Like they're so much fun to drive, and once you start progressing, you progress pretty quick with it, right? So it's what makes it a fun class.
And I will say that the cars themselves are probably the most fun I've ever had driving in a race car because you can never be comfortable with what you're doing. You could take it in the corner exactly the same 19 out of 20 laps, and all of a sudden you
Yeah,
take it in the exact same once, but the track's a little different, and you're either chasing it or you're going around or all the
yeah.
above.
Well, that's my problem is consistency. I can have an awesome lap and you can feel it when you have a really good lap. You're on the chip at the same spot, the car sits properly and it just goes through the turn. Like you can feel it in your pants that okay, that was a good lap. Next lap, blow the corner, the whole lap's shot, right? It's
Well,
just but that's racing, right?
that's every division. You'll blow a corner, then you'll get back to that corner the next lap. Like, all right, I blew this one last time. Then you'll check up too much because you don't want to overshoot it, and and roll too much speed to the center and kind of push up around the lap. So it takes
Yeah.
like some for an average racer or the gentleman racer, as you call it in the road course racing, two
Yeah.
or three laps to recover from a single mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I think defines or not defines separates the gentleman racers or the hobbyists, let's call it, from the
Yeah.
guys that are just aliens that just could do this full time every day, all day.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so
So
it's good.
if you were trying to convince some more people to get into legends racing, like yourself, that maybe have wanted to race or have raced before, and they're like you said, late models are expensive. Like if you want
Yeah.
to go APC racing, if it's you're looking at a brand new car to be competitive, you're looking at a six-figure budget for the season.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, what would your advice be to somebody trying to get into Legend Series?
Well, if you're not ready to buy one, come out and ask a team if you can help. Like, team's always looking for help, right? I am. Come out and hang out, ask questions. Jeff Drimmy's an awesome guy to go see. He runs the 66, 34, and 25 team, and he lives right near the track. You know, um, anyone will talk to you. Sit in the cars, ask questions. There's a bunch of groups online. Legends Direct is a dealer in the States. I deal with 510. You know, Robin Jungan. He runs our series now. He's the new owner. Contact him, right? We'll set you up. Come out for a night. That's how I did it. I just went and started talking to Jeff in the pits. I ended up buying a car off him. Matt Hoff's old car. So that was my first car, a 1250 car. Right?
Yeah, and Jeff is one of the I want to say the nicest guys in the Legend group
Yeah.
because like I was struggling with my car when I first brought it out on the old Federal tires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he literally gives me a set of the new Hoosiers, which woke my car right up. And
Yeah.
then it was like, oh, bring it over for a setup. We'll get you set up. We'll get you dialed in. And it's
Yeah.
like, and you ask them, because all racers are like this. I feel like you always ask what you owe for people helping out
Yeah.
because none of us expect it for free because we understand time is money. But most people are like, whatever, we just want you to be faster because the faster they can make the middle to the back of the pack go, the faster they're going to be allowed to go. And
Yeah.
the biggest addiction of racing is wanting to go faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it
100%.
doesn't matter what class you start in. If you ran a 13.8 one week, you want to be 13.7 the next week.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're a buddy there at Stronco 77, which I think you know him quite well.
Yeah, we're kind of, well, I guess Corey and I are related in a way. Chad's married to my niece, so I'm gonna consider Corey family and his wife Ro. Yeah, they're family. Sure they are.
That said, you know them quite well. So
Yeah.
he had the fan question for you this evening, and he wants to know what is your greatest strength in racing and how does it help you as a race car driver?
I seen that on there. I guess I kind of race respectfully. Depends on who you are, if we've had run-ins or not. But with the front guys, like if they're lapping me, I give them a little hand out the window and they know I see them, they can go. Like I don't hold them up. I don't run a stupid line. I don't change my line. So overall, that gives you respect and then they're willing to help you out, right? So that's my strength. I don't do stupid stuff on the track or try not to anyways. I guess Saturday night there was kind of a stupid move, but I didn't take anyone with me, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, I can't say the same. I've definitely done some stupid things, whether it be in the legend. Everyone's done it once in a while because you got to try to find the limits of your car, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't gain the nickname 360 for nothing, right? I'm not sure if Dave gave that to me, Sigma, or John the flagman. I'm not sure of which one of the two of them gave me that nickname, I guess.
I know we were joking about it when I first joined the Legend series. You're like, you're going to spin one of these out, and just so you know, hold the clutch so you don't break the starter.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when I spun it out, you were there.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think we ran each other 2 times, but at the same time, it was always just one of those racing deals. Like we were there having fun. And the thing is, it's not I'd say we wouldn't get mad at each other, but we'd be right there helping each other fix each other's cars and stuff like that. as
Yeah.
the group does. Like you, you want to beat everybody on the track and stuff like that. You don't want to beat them because they're broke or anything like that, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know who got into Matt Boyce the other night. It was a different heat than mine, but basically tore the right front off his car, right? He was sitting down in the infield. I don't think you were there yet. So I ran my heat, came back in the pits, and they already had his car up on, the lift. The Latimer boys were over there. Everyone else was over there handing them parts, suspension parts, and Jeff was handing them parts, and they got that car back together, man. And in some classes, guys will just sit back and watch you struggle, right?
And
So,
that's the thing is, I wouldn't even say it's like certain classes that cause it, just certain people. Because like
okay,
I've literally
fair
been,
enough.
I've been in late models and stuff like that, and literally guys would be like, "Well, you're running for points, take my car." But
Yeah,
like this is like you can have someone like Dan McCaddy that's not running for points one year. I'll be like, "Yeah, take my car. You're running for points."
yeah,
Like I can't do that. That car's worth more than my life.
yeah, yeah. He's kind of got nice stuff, eh?
Yeah. Well, he also builds nice stuff. That's the one
Yeah,
advantage to guys like him, your buddy Chad there. They
yeah,
build nice things. And it's like because they understand what they can build, they
yeah,
understand how the cars work. And I think that's why they like helping people because it's one of those things that like they like to pass that knowledge on. Like you have your Chads, you have your JBJs, you have your
yeah,
Dan McCaddies, you have your Ryan Babbins that like help all the mini stock guys out.
yeah,
Which I think that's a good legacy to have in racing.
yeah,
If you can go into towards the end of your career and stuff like that, and people are like, hey, that guy, whether you race on the track one way or another, everyone's allowed to be a different person with a helmet on, right?
yes, 100%.
But
Right?
like if you come in and all of a sudden, oh, someone that you don't even like is wrecked, but you're over there helping to fix their car, that's your legacy, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Chad likes everybody. I don't know of anyone he doesn't get along with. I've even popped into his house one night and there was a competitor's vehicle in there. I'm not going to say what it was or who it was, but he was in there helping them do setup and changing things and that simply because he wanted the class to get better and faster and more competitive. He didn't have to do that, you
Well,
know?
it's no different than Autumn Colors the last year that we just had in 2023. He was
Yeah.
originally going to race his modified in the Oscar modified division.
Yeah.
I was going to run my car, and he goes, "Oh, you got to do this." He gave me free a couple free tires, like a sticker tire, even. Like you're
Yeah.
going to be better with these tires on than what you got. Like,
Yeah.
but that's just who Chad is, and
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's how our sport grows is having more of these gentleman style racers that want to pass on their knowledge to the next person and help classes grow to be bigger again. Because it's sometimes as it goes on, there's not many kids that know how to rebuild a carburetor.
No, no. He's a pretty smart cookie. Him and Brad Stevenson, Brian, Chad's dad, Corey, they're all smart, man. And it's kind of hard being part of that team because there's a standard you have to keep your car at, right? They don't ask me to keep it at that standard. It's just you feel bad if there's parts hanging off your car and you're with that SMS, right? So there's they have a the Strons have a standard. Everything they build is nice, right?
Yeah,
So
and that's the one thing I'm kind of lucky because I was an associated with teams. I was just, as I was known, as zip ties and duct tape and ratchet straps by Charlie up in the tower. But when you're a small guy, you gotta get the job done how you get the job done.
yeah, right. His truck is beautiful that he built, Chad's. His mod was beautiful. Now Junior Hanley helped him with that, and I think he helps him a lot. That's another. I don't know if you've heard of him. Hey, he's a pretty smart guy, Junior Hanley.
Yeah, I think he's raced a time or two.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. He's kind of popular around Canada. So
Canada, North America, probably European states probably
yeah,
know of him.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
been
really
around
nice
once or
man.
twice.
Really nice man, actually.
And oddly enough, so I had my second late model over at Sunset, and I was
Mhm.
struggling. I always struggled at Sunset.
Yeah,
As you know, it's a completely different animal than what Peterborough is. And when you're used to
yeah,
how Peterborough drives, it's really hard to adapt to Sunset. But
yeah,
if you're used to how Sunset drives, it's really hard to adapt to Peterborough.
yeah. I'm not a big fan of Sunset.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that
Because they maybe out
yeah, it
there,
was just
take a look at that.
so he was helping me on the car and I didn't even know who he was. And it's just one of those things. It's like I appreciate the knowledge and like he's telling me how to drive the track and then and the night I'm like, who's that guy helping me? And they're like, oh, it's Junior Hanlon. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait, what?
yeah, he's phenomenal, man. You know, yeah.
And- all right, so I'm gonna ask a few questions here for you. First of all, where can we find you on social media for Glenn Morris and also the SMS racing team?
Well, SMS Racing Team is they're on Facebook. I'm Glenny Boy 77 on Instagram. Glenn Morris on Facebook. That's it for me. Ontario Legends, you know, we have a page now. It's pretty good. Elizabeth Pipe does Keaton's mom. I think she does all the social media. So that's a really nice family. That kid's he really improved this year and last year, and you know, so yeah. So that social media is that's about where you can find me. I'm not on a lot, really. Not as much as I should be. So
Yeah, that's the one thing with racing. It's become more of a you have to work on the car 40 hours a week, but you have to advertise on social media 60 hours a week.
yeah, it's crazy, right? Like I don't do the TikTok thing, and I don't, I'd like to. Every time I put a GoPro in my car, it doesn't turn out right, and it's pointing at the ceiling or whatever. So
That's why it's nice to have the GoPro app on your phone. So when you're in
yeah,
practice, you can kind of dial it in, then just lock your mounts and everything and hope for the best.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I should maybe load that up.
all right. So the second question is we got to find out who are the sponsors that keeps that. Is it still 77 or do you switch to 35?
77.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know Chad switched to 35 and then, yeah.
Yeah, well, when he came to the Legends, when he built this car and raced that, I think he raced like 2 weeks or whatever, decided to go back to the mod. Um, he took the 35. I offered him the 77 because I thought that was the number, but 35 is a special number to him. I'll let him explain that to you when he comes on here. So
Yeah, him and Savvy are supposed to be on here next week. So as long as they have an okay week and they don't have to rebuild the truck for like the 700th time in the last two
yeah,
weeks.
yeah, I know. He's
Unfortunately, he had a rough opening week.
yeah, it'll be all right. He's pretty good.
Well,
Kind of knows his stuff.
yeah, he's been around a long time in racing. So is his dad, and
Yeah,
he's and it's with the Strons. If you're in with them, it's all hands on deck every night of the week, and it's a great group to be friends with and have around. And
yeah. Well, he's got a couple of friends that live really close, like Mike and then Josh. They're over there a lot, and Corey's up there a lot, and you know.
hell, if
So
he called me, I can come down, but I don't know nearly as much as him. But
I just stand back, hand
yeah.
wrenches,
Which wrench do you need? You guys need a drink? You guys good?
pizza. What do you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah. You guys, I can hit the barbecue up, guys. I can barbecue.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, so anyway, let's list the sponsors for your number 77 Ontario Legend Series car.
Since my memory sucks, I got a list here. The Metal Factory, a buddy of mine, John Nottingham, owns that. He's out of Nestleton now. He's got a new place and a new shop. So he's getting that all set up. So anything you need made, like he'll do custom stuff, custom brackets, lamps, whatever you need in metal, that man will make it. So just get a hold of me or look up the Metal Factory on Facebook, get a hold of him. White Feathered Farm, Jacob the son was a friend of mine. So they're helping out. Walton Restoration, they're in Oshawa. They're actually going to be doing work on my house. We had a little bit of a flood. So they're a preferred contractor with my insurance company. So it worked out great. They sponsor me and, I get to pay them back with some work. PJ Larkin, Salvage. He's helped me out a few years. Really good man. I bought Canada. Best springs out there, man. I love them. Nice bright red. They're consistent. If you test them and they say 180, like they're 180. They're not all over the map. Bodies by Strawn. I don't know if you heard of them. some guy named Chad, you know, if you don't want your modified to look like everyone else's or your truck, call him. I'm trying to get him to open a business, but he says he doesn't have time, which, you know, I think he could make time.
Not only he doesn't have time, but it's in their family to kind of just help and be like, whatever, they'll come back around.
Yeah, but you know, he's got a skill. He should be able to make a little bit of money off it, right?
I don't disagree, but
Right.
to tell him that is a whole different story.
Yeah, I know. I told him I'd build a shop here in the back of the yard, which you've been here. I've got room for it. And we could set up a little thing and, you know, get something going. Everyone else makes money off their skill. You know, it's okay to volunteer and help people, but you know, he should be able to make a little bit of coin off it to help with his racing and getting his daughter going now. You know, that's not going to be cheap.
No, unfortunately, as soon as one family member gets the racing bug, we all get the racing bug.
I know he's got a son, Landon, but he's more of a gamer. You
For
know,
now, until he gets iRacing, and then it's going to be the whole new story.
I don't think Chad started racing until he was 16 or whatever. But Landon loves his gaming, man. He's an awesome kid. He just that's his thing, right? And Chad doesn't push him, and that's good. You know.
It's important to just. I feel like I'm not a parent, but I feel it's if you don't force them and they pick what they want to do, they'll enjoy it more. If you
Yeah.
force someone to do what you're doing as a hobby, just so like, oh well, they can do it like us. I
Yeah.
find that it won't be as enjoyable in their youth, where they might not carry it on when it comes time to flip their own bills or etc.
Yeah, they gotta want to do it, right? You can't force them. It's crazy. So
So the last question, or do you have more sponsors to list?
I got one. Chipper Productions. Chipper, if you're into Demolition Derby, which I think you are, Chipper 44. Corey, my buddy Corey Morrison up in Nestleton. He runs the Sunderland Demolition Derby. He's the head honcho there the last 2 years, I think. So again, if you need anything built for your demolition car, but he's in the pro level, like he's like up there building stuff to go to the States, and it's all hardcore, and you know, he can't run his truck here. He'd destroy everybody with it. So
I think I've run against Shipper a time or two, and it's always hurt.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how you guys do it. Like I see it flopping around inside there like a fish, and no, not for me.
It's not so bad when you're the one doing the hitting, because you know it's coming, you know to brace yourself, how to brace yourself after time. It's
Yeah,
the ones you don't see coming that hurt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's also when you're young and dumb, you don't really think about safety equipment as properly. Like, oh, I have a Ski-Doo helmet. I can run that in the derbies, so it'll be fine. It's from like
yeah,
1970. As you move into racing, like, oh, there's a reason why these helmets have approval ratings and expiry dates and etc. But
yeah.
maybe we can get you to try like a demo cross or something like that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I have no desire to do that.
Oh,
Right?
it is fun anger management. I can tell you that.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't do that. My
But
oldest daughter wants to try it, so we'll see. Maybe get her in a car or something.
well, I'm building two right now, so if she wants to see how to build a car and stuff like that, she can come down and take a peek. You know where I work, I think.
Yeah,
That's where they're sitting. I might have a third car or fourth car, whatever. The boss keeps buying them and showing them up. Anyway,
yeah.
last thing I want to ask before we run out of
Okay.
time is where can we get the SMS Racing hats or any other Glenn Morris merchandise?
I'm actually all out of hats right now. Chad and I have to make another order. My daughter brought a couple of friends to on the weekend, and they'd never seen racing before, so you got to give them hats, right? So I went through my last four, but we'll put another order in, and then just come and see us in the pits, man. You know, I'm sure I could find one or two to hand out.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to start signing them because I've got two signed Savvy hats, I guess. So like you got to catch up to Savvy here.
I know, but she's the popular one now. You
Well,
know,
you got to fight for it a little bit, Glenn.
yeah. Well, then you got Chase running the other little car, right?
The
What
junior
junior
lights.
lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Paige, Brad's daughter, she's going to be running the bone stock. June 1st, I think, is her first night. So
See, I thought she was out this week because that 46 will kind of look like you know what I mean? Like the color scheme kind of looked SMS style from back in like when they had the twin matching car days.
Yeah, I think she's got a little Barbie's theme going, right?
Oh, well,
So yeah, Brad's out of town working, so he's not home till the June 1st, I don't think is his first weekend home. And it's kind of a, you want to see your daughter her first night race. And then I think she wants her dad to be there, right? That whole like we could look after her, not a problem, but it's dad, right? None of us can be dad, right?
yeah, and it's one of those things that like as soon as she races, Brad's gonna want to race against her
Yeah, yeah,
because I know one of the biggest things for me is one of the memories I'll have for the longest time is getting to race against my dad a couple times or against my dad and my brother at the same time. It's one of those cool experiences. Like no matter what happens, we've done something as a family that not a lot of people can say they can do.
yeah, 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 that's true. And you raced in a good class, right?
Raced in a
So
good class, had some fun.
yeah.
And anyway, Glenn, I'm gonna let you have a good night here. We're gonna wish you adios.
Okay,
And
man.
can't wait to see you this week at Peterborough Speedway.
Come say hi, or I'll find you.
I'll try. I haven't figured out 100% if I'm going to Peterborough yet, but most likely going to go back to Peterborough, get some hopefully better pictures.
Well, you had some good ones, man.
That's my
You
first
did
time.
okay.
That's my first time shooting at night. So there's a learning curve that was thrown real fast at me in the center,
Yeah,
especially because I didn't take any during the day to kind of like get settled in. Plus, my left arm was shaky for certain reasons that I'll probably mention in the intro.
yeah. So yeah, we talked about that earlier, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I won the SOAR competition this week.
yes, you did. Just
But
by a little.
yeah, just by about a jack stand or two. All right, have yourself a great night, Glenn. I wish you the
All
best
right,
of
buddy.
luck and have yourself a great season.
All right, thanks, man.